I am saying goodbye to these drum shells that I've had for 7 years and doing my very first unboxing of some brand new Tama Walnut Birch Starclassic drum shells. So come hang out with me while I do my first unboxing. Okay, there we go. It barely fits through my door. Okay. Let me just scooch this back. Okay. So, there she is. 5-piece kit. Should all be in these boxes. I hope. Okay, so. I guess I should just do one at a time. I'm gonna scoot one of these out of the way so you get a better bird's eye view of this guy. I'll start with the small one first. Oh my God. Okay, there we go. That's better. Okay, so here we go. This is a Starclassic Walnut Birch 5-piece kit, which I will only be using 4 pieces of it, but it is in the Nebula Mappa Burl fade finish, which when I saw it, I was blown away. It may not be for everybody, but Lord knows I can be a bit exotic at times. So here we go. First look at the Nebula Mappa Burl fade. A few little floor tom legs. Got some drum heads in here. It comes fitted with G2 heads. The Rezo heads are all just the Tama Powercraft. So I have some Evans G1s out in the hall that I'm going to fit these shells with. This, I'm assuming, is one of the tom mounts, which I won't be using. I will be racking that 12-inch tom up on my rack. So, okay, I'm gonna grab this guy out of here first. This looks like the 12-inch tom, and it's actually already got the drum heads fitted to it. I don't know if it's in tune or not. I kind of doubt it. Oh, that is beautiful. Check that out. So that is a purple to turquoise blue fade. That's incredible. You can see all those knots that are in the Burl. I absolutely love Burl. I have a Schecter up on my wall that's made out of Burl with some epoxy inside the knots that are on the Burl, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. That is incredible. Now, I ordered the snare drum for this about a week ago. That showed up, and when I saw that finish in person, I was sold. This has got all die-cast hoops. That is just absolutely stunning. You can see the well, maybe you can see it's super dark on the inside. That's that walnut. So a few plies of birch, 2 plies of walnut on the inside. I'm so excited to get that mounted up. Put that right there. Let's get down into this floor tom that's in here. I don't know how. Okay, so they've got a few of the lugs actually screwed into place. Okay. More just packaging. These are very snug in here. Very nicely packaged. Oh man, okay. So this I can actually get. This doesn't have the heads on it, so I will be able to show you the inside of the walnut. Take this out of here. Oh, it's even better on the floor toms. That purple, the taller the drum is, the more the purple you get. And it's just a really nice violet color. And all of those waves and knots in the burl are just incredible to see. Of course, video is probably never going to do it justice, but that is just gorgeous. There on the inside, you can see how dark that is. That's that walnut. That is clean. Wow. Okay, I'm actually going to set that right back in here where it's nice and safe. And then let's go ahead and open up this large box with the bass drum in it. All this packaging out of here. Okay. I actually took that right back over here. Make room for this big boy. It's heavier than it looks, and it looks pretty heavy. Okay, so the kit overall comes with the 5-piece is a 22 by 16 bass drum with a 10-inch, 12-inch, 14-inch, and 16-inch tom. Snare drum, of course, is separate, which I got that last week. I cannot wait to see what this bass drum looks like in person. It gets, like I said, it seems like it gets better and better, that color, the larger the drum is, because you get a little bit more of that violet. So I can only imagine what this bass drum is going to look like. Okay, so getting into box number 2. Got 2 drums out already, which means there should be 3 in here. Get rid of that cardboard. There is our bass drum heads. I'm going to put a port in the reso head on the bass drum. Very excited to get to do that again. I know it was an absolute pain in the ass on my last bass drums, but then again on the last ones I did 4 ports because I did 2 per bass drum and they were 6-inch ports. I'm just going to do a single 5-inch on this one. I don't need to overkill. Some more floor tom legs, a little bit more packaging. Ooh, wow. Oh my gosh. The bass drum hoops themselves, I'm so used to having bass drums where the inside of the hoop is just the color of the wood. These are completely color-coded bass drum hoops. And in my opinion, that just changes the vibe of a kit completely. It just makes it look so much cleaner. Packaging, packaging, packaging. All right, here's our 10-inch tom in here. Oh my gosh, they just get better and better. Me personally, since I love Burl so much, the more knots and patterns and uniqueness there is to the wood, the better. And some of these are just, they really do look like a Nebula just like what it's named after. It just looks very cosmic, and look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, that one's incredible. Maybe I will mount that up. I've always liked having a 4-piece, but that's just too pretty to stow away. Okay, down in here is the 14-inch floor tom. Let's see what this guy looks like before getting the final piece out. I'm gonna have a lot of work ahead of me getting all these heads on and getting these things tuned up, as well as trying to figure out what song to play on it the very first time. Oh my gosh. I'm just blown away at that violet color. This one's beautiful as well. You can see all the knots, more and more of them. Wow. Set that guy right over there. All right, and now we're on to the final piece. There is so much packaging in here. I've got no room left in this tiny room of mine. Let's see. Oh, wow. Okay, okay. They've got a protective ring over the bearing edge of the bass drum for packaging. Let's see here. I don't know if I'm gonna have room in here to get this out. Let me create some space here. All right. More hardware in this little box right here. We'll see what that's all about. How do I want to do this? I'm going to set this box over there and then lift the bass drum out and bring it over here. Okay, so here is the final piece. This is the bass drum. This is the first time I've ever played on a bass drum that's 16 inches deep. I've always had 18s. I'm excited. Oh my gosh. That hoop is incredible. Let me get all this off today. I'm a sucker for purple, by the way, which is one of the reasons why I'm so excited about it. It's also my son's favorite color. All right, should. So there is that Burl wrapped bass drum hoop. This one's going to be purple. The one closest to me when I'm sitting down is going to be that turquoise green color. My gosh, that is just fantastic. Nice little protective ring around the bearing edge. All right, and finally, well, let me make sure I don't drop this other hoop here. I might actually, I think I'm gonna flip this over. Oh, the top of the bass drum is so exciting. I was hoping that the all the little intricacies on the Burl would be super elaborate on the top of the bass drum, and it is. I've seen pictures of some where it's not quite as exciting. Here is the hoop that is green. Got more and more of those knots. It's almost a shame to put my bass drum pedal clamp to that thing. My gosh. Last but not least, let me get this guy all the way out of here and standing up. Tape on the shelf. Okay, that is just a loud looking bass drum. That is just so exciting. Wow. I'm obsessed. I don't know about you guys. Like I said, this might not be for everybody, but I'm not the best drummer in the world, so I need something super colorful to make me look exciting at least. All the hardware is just top notch. Now this little guy right here, I will actually be attempting to remove, since I'm not planning on mounting the bass drums in there, and it does not actually drill all the way through the bass drum. It's solid in there. And so what I've seen on some Reddit posts is you can unscrew that, remove it so you don't have this chrome block sitting on top, and just get little subtle plugs to just tap into those screw holes. And then it looks nice and clean. Now it is time to get all the heads mounted, this thing tuned up, put in place, and then give you guys the final picture of what this kit's gonna look like in here. But I can tell already by just looking at the screen how excited I am to see all this purple and turquoise back in this little corner here. All right, let's get this guy set up. So one thing I've always appreciated is a bass drum without a tom mount on it. I just think it looks clean, just having it just round on the top. Especially since I don't use it with the rack system. So since I don't, there's just this silver block sitting on top of my bass drums. I've never really liked that. Now, don't get me wrong, they're very versatile. If you ever, use them, then they're one of the best ways to go rather than having to bring a bunch of cymbal stands or tom stands that go with your setup if you're traveling. But for my use, I don't use it. So what I like about the Starclassics is this hole does not go all the way through the bass drum. There's just a plate there holding on. So what you can actually do, what I found, is you go to Lowe's, you get you some of these guys, just nylon hole plugs, 1/4 inch. They just look like that. And what you can do is remove these 4 screws. All right, and you just remove that plate. And then this just comes right off the top. No hole through it, just a little rubber gasket on the bottom. And then what you're left with are just these little holes. And you can kind of see that ring there that's left behind by that gasket, but you can just clean that off. Then you're exposing a lot more of the, pretty burl on the top and everything. Take this off gently, careful not to scratch that clear coat, that gloss finish on it. use like a gentle cleaner. And then you just take these guys, pop that right in there. And once you have them in there, and once that's underneath the rack and everything, it's not really noticeable. All you see is just a nice rounded top drum. So if you're using the Starclassics and you don't use the tom mount, do this. It's clean. So in the first accessory box that comes with the bass drum, you're going to have all of your bass drum hoop clamps, the tension lugs for the floor toms, and then the memory locks that go on the floor tom legs. They also give you one of their nice drum keys, and then this wood hoop protector. These go on the bass drum. They're these rubber pads that your pedal will clamp onto so it doesn't ruin the nice clear coat on the bass drum hoops. All right, so here's the bass drum all set up and ready to go. Got a 5-inch port that I put in the front. You can see that with that tom mount off the top, it's nice and clean. You can't really notice those little nylon studs that go in those holes hardly at all. And then got an Evans EMAD 2 on the batter side. Perfect. Floor tom number 1, the 14-inch, is all ready to go. It comes with Evans G2 heads with the Tama logo on them. And then I have Evans G1s on the reso side. Now this other accessory box that comes in the box with the 16-inch floor tom and 12-inch rack tom has the tom mounting systems, the Starclassic systems, and then this in here is actually what goes into the bass drum to mount the toms, which I will not be using, but this system is incredible. It gives you a lot more versatility than normal bass drum mounted tom mounts because of how you're able to swivel these toms. So not only do these pivot just like any other Tama mounting system, but this whole arm actually will swing as well. So on top of the bass drum, that's going to give you a lot more versatility as to where your 10 and 12-inch toms can go. Set that aside. And then these are the Starcast mounting systems, which I will actually only be using one of because I normally only mount the 12-inch tom, and then I have the 2 floor toms. Okay, so this right here is the mounting system, and what you do is these rubber nuts will come off, and this is nice. I'm used to having the other mounting system that Tama uses where the rubber grommets are actually going through the lug, the tension lug. And the problem with that is when you go to do finger tight tension before tuning, you can't really, they feel different because the rubber is gripping it, so they feel tighter than what they actually are. So I've never really liked the feel. Not to mention, to take it off, you have to take the head off, whereas this, you can just toss this right in there with the head on, get that into mounting position, and then you screw back on these top rubber nuts. And voila, 12-inch tom is now mounted. And then the other nice thing is every single one of them has these memory locks. The floor toms have them on the legs. The rack toms have them on this mounting system. And this, oh, it has a little tie attached to it. This will stay on the rack or on the tom holder, wherever you have it. And then when you want to take the tom off, you just unlock, pull it off, and then you slide it right back down. It goes right back into position. You lock it, and it's right in place. So that is their mounting system. Final piece for my kit, the 16-inch tom. One more thing that I love about these floor toms is where the memory locks go in. See all this grommet kind of around it? It gives it some play. So that the sound, all the vibrations that are going into the head, don't just go into the shell, ground to the floor, and just die into the floor. Gives that shell a chance to resonate a little bit more.